want the folks at home to see you and see the great folks at Muleshoe. We'd love to have you up against the ropes, right over here, getting close to that. While you're there, you can take a look at our good friend.
Temperature-wise, like people stay very warm. Here's a quick look at the temperatures and show you a forecast. But I don't see a lot of change coming up, but I see continuing chances of some showers, maybe some thunderstorms off and on the next couple of days here today.
Now, as you mentioned earlier, compared to center class, the center guided star way back in the high school center. Still trying to be long.
You want some noisemakers?
What do you think, bud?
We're back again. 89 years. We've been part of the special occasion for a lot of people in South Plains. Today, we're going to make some money.
basketball coach Jay Gorman. Muleshoe, a tremendous run in the regional finals 2 years ago. But now let's move to Muleshoe Lady Mules basketball. Let me bring in the new girls basketball coach of the Mules right now, and that is Jay Gorman. What in the world is going on here? You're moving from the boys to the girls?
That's right. I've got 2 little girls at home, 2-year-old and 3-year-old. And that was reasons number 1 and 2. And the third reason is these girls are just an incredible group to work with. We may be the youngest team in the state. Combine that with the great facilities we have, the amazing administrators, the great community. It's just the place I want to be for a long time. Our district better watch out because these girls they're on the rise and we're coming back. So.
Hello, putting it out there.
Here, I've got a burritos. Is that all right? Ready?
Ice cream?
I'll hold them.
Okay, drinks are done that way.
I don't want to.
Will you sign this one? Well, this is a tech t-shirt. That's pretty cool. All right. You still need to get you a black one somewhere. We can see where they are.
Can you sign this?
I sure can. Where do you want me to sign it? Anywhere? All right. Tell you what, let's turn it like this. Whoops, you dropped your card there. That way I'll be signing it. I won't be signing it upside down. And you can get Karin and Abner.
Reynolds John with Channel 6. Thanks for
How you
coming
doing?
to
Yes.
Muleshoe.
Oh, it's
now,
exciting.
You're taller than I anticipated.
Well, I'm about 6'4" if I stand up straight like I should. So kind of runs in the family. My uncles were tall, and my son's about 6'1" or so now. So.
Well, can you sign my shirt?
I sure can. I'll be glad to. Glad to have you guys over here.
Well, now I want to know: are you a Lubbock guy? Are you a Tech guy? Tell us your history, John.
Actually, I'm from Arlington, the home of Six Flags, and I went to North Texas to get into communications, and then I came to Tech, and I have a master's from Tech in communications.
Oh, well, we'll let you in then.
All right. And then my broadcast meteorology is from Mississippi State, so I've been all around the area.
How long have you been at KCBD?
Let me see. Don't ask me that, but actually it's been since 1983.
Well, you're a homegrown one. Did you grow any after you came to KCBD?
No, I don't think so, but who knows, you know. So I've been fairly tall ever since about high school, I guess. Yeah.
Now, what about when you went to work with Channel 11, Hey Good Looking, you know? Were they doing Hey Good Looking then?
I think they were already past that, but we did bring back Casey and Bud for a while on our 50th anniversary, which is, I guess, about 5 or 10 years ago now. So, but we brought it back then. And then when I came to work, though, we had one computer we'd just gotten, and now we work with about 15 computers. So it's amazing the transformation between the radar and all the information coming in.
Yes, and the weather has changed so tremendously.
Yeah.
Now, in your team, I'm talking about weather, not news. How many are on your staff?
Well, we've got Kerry Allen, our weekend meteorologist, and he also went to Mississippi State. And then Steve Devine, he's our morning forecaster. And then we've got a couple of interns from Texas Tech. Sometimes we get some from South Plains College. But overall, it's basically us three right now, especially in the summer season.
Right.
So.
Well, now, I was just wondering, how did you get into this particular field, though?
Well, let me see. It's a long story, but
make it shorter.
I'll make it short. I started in, I trained for television shooting, just like the gentleman behind the camera there. That's what I trained for, and directing. But I also took in some broadcast news writing and journalism. So I started in radio in Midland, and then I moved from there within less than a year to San Angelo, and I went right into news. And the thing was, you had to do weather on the weekends. And so I thought, if I'm going to do it, I immediately got with the Weather Service and started studying weather. and that got me into weather. Later on it did. First I did primarily news and reporting, chased ambulances as we call it, and all that kind of stuff. And then I moved over because weather just had more of a natural field for me, and I like analyzing stuff. So I like looking at the data, trying to figure out if it's going to rain or not rain, or if it's going to be hot or cold. So I moved from news into weather, and that's probably did that a few years before I came to Lubbock. And then when I was here, it's just been weather.
And now, what about the today weather in Muleshoe?
The today weather? You mean
Right now.
right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you wanted me to give you a forecast like today's show weather. No, it is hot. We had some showers that just missed the city. They were coming up from Amherst and Sudan, coming northwest, but it appears from the looks of the clouds that they're gone. But there's some more showers off of the Cap Rock that are coming this way, but I don't know if they'll make it or not. But there's a chance. But tomorrow, I think a carbon copy of today, anywhere from 92 to 95.
Okay, you got an A plus.
Well, thanks. Appreciate it.
But you could have a big rain shower in there and you'd get an A double plus.
All right, I'll work on it, man. We've been praying a lot and hoping for that to happen.
Absolutely.
So.
And we're here at the Muleshoe Heritage Foundation with John Robison, the weatherman at KCBD.
Nice to meet you.
And you can call me Maggie if you want
Maggie.
to.
All right, I feel very privileged. Thank you, Maggie.
Oh, no, that's not a privilege. Not at all. But I want to know a little bit about you. We see you, we hear you, but I don't know about you. Where were you reared?
I grew up in Ohio. I traveled a lot. My dad worked for IBM back when they called it I've Been Moved. And so we moved all over the country, and I ended up in Dallas. And I graduated from Richardson High School and came to Tech and met my husband, and we have stayed here. We always thought we're going to get out of Lubbock, you know, as soon as we graduate, and we just ended up loving it and staying. And we love West Texas, this community, and we love Muleshoe. My editor is from Sudan. So I feel very close to
who is your editor?
Jordan Nelson in Sudan. So I've gone out to Sudan to have lunch with their family, and I've heard all sorts of stories about Muleshoe and Sudan. So I feel kin to this area a little bit through her. So I'm really glad that we're here on Monday night, the first night.
Right. Good way to start it off, right?
It is. And let me tell you about my two little grandchildren.
Oh, I want to
As long as you're asking about me, both my kids are in love. My son is at Tarleton State. He's 21, and my daughter is 28. She lives in Lubbock and has two little kids, and she has a great husband. And I have a 2.5-year-old grandson and a 6-month-old granddaughter.
You want to hear about mine?
I'd love to. Tell me, Maggie, you have grandchildren too?
I just came home about 30 minutes early so I could see you. But also from my grandchildren's home, they'd been in Muleshoe for 2 weeks.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? How old are they?
Oh, they're 2.5 and going on 49.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, she's grown.
Yeah.
And also a 7-year-old.
Well, I know. I have a 2.5-year-old grandson, and they are so much fun. They're just learning about the world, and they love you every time they see you and want to run to you and hug you, and they're great fun, aren't they?
They really are. And so you've been in Lubbock since you came to Tech how many years?
A long time. I've been here since 78. Wonderful. So it's been a very long time, and I've just loved it, and been with Abner.
KCBD?
Since 78.
Oh,
so,
since 78.
Yes. Abner and I have been together since, more than 30 years now, since 78. We've been best friends all this time. He's the godfather to both my children, and so he's just been part of the family. And then once he finally got married, and he has two twin girls, and we're just so close to them, and we feel like they're our kids too, and so we're very close to Abner and his wife, Tara.
And so tell me, if you can remember, what was the news like in delivering it, the set, when you came to KCBD?
Oh my gosh, what a difference. Such a difference, because I remember one time I had a story with Henry Kissinger, who was Secretary of State back then, and he happened to be in Lubbock. And I raced back to the station to get it on the air, and I got there at 15 minutes till 10. And the news, the man who was anchoring at the time, this is when I was a reporter before I was an anchor, he said, "I'm sorry, you're late. We've already put the news together for 10 o'clock. Can you believe that? It still bothers me today.
It didn't go on?
It didn't go on because I wasn't there early enough. But back then, in the early days, they would put the news together 30 minutes before the news, and then it was done, and they would go out there and sit out there and read it. And you know, isn't that funny how news has changed? Now it's all about live to the minute what's happening right now, and to take you live wherever it's happening. And so it still bothers me to this day that I interviewed this wonderful man who was, he was known all over the world, to be in Lubbock, Texas, and then it didn't get on the air because I wasn't there early enough when I had 15 minutes before the news even started. Isn't that bizarre? So times have changed. It's all about live and current and up-to-the-minute news breaking events, and it's just it's a greater world we live in now, and it's a much faster world to get to where news is immediately, you know.
And did it ever air?
No, they said we missed it. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my God!
It never went on the air, and I mean, I had it all. It was all done, and so it's just a whole time is so different now. You know, it's just yeah, it's a whole different world in news. And Abner started back in the days of tape, so he's back in where they splice tape and so forth, and so he's a little bit older. He started a few years before I did, so he has an interesting perspective. But it's a great business, and I know you love it too, don't you? It's exciting because it's different every day. You get to meet interesting people, like I get to meet you, Maggie. So I love this business. See, it was a pretty good swap there, wasn't it? Yeah. So I really love this business, and it's a pleasure to be out here and to meet so many nice people in Muleshoe.
Well, thank you so much for coming our way to the Mule Memorial City in Muleshoe, Texas, of course. This is part of the Pete Christy family. Hey, Pete, how did you come up with I Beat Pete?
Boy, I started it about 17 years ago, and I said, what could I come up with to promote some of these lesser-known sports? These girls are out there swimming, and they work just as hard as football, basketball, and baseball. So I said, let me come up with a challenge segment that, allows me to spotlight these athletes and different, non-traditional sports, and it's kind of turned into a 17-year process, and I'm trying to do it about another 8 years and then wrap it up.
Oh, well, that's neat. Hey, do you like I Beat Pete? Can you beat Pete? You can. What's your name?
Henley.
And can you spell it yet?
Henley.
Oh, you give it to me. Yeah. And tell me, are you in school yet? Where do you go to school?
Preston Smith.
Preston Smith Elementary, right? And do you know who Preston Smith was? No, that's okay. You'll learn, okay?
Tell her what grade you're going to be in.
Pre-K.
Oh, great. And do you go to Preston Smith?
Yes.
And what grade are you in?
First.
First. And what's your daddy's name?
Pete Christy.
It is. And do you have a brother or a sister?
A brother.
A brother. What's your favorite food?
Pizza.
Pizza. What's your mama's name?
Kelly Christy.
And tell me your favorite of all foods.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti. Oh, that's a winner. Yeah, everybody loves spaghetti, don't they? Can you make it?
No.
You can. But Mama can, or can Daddy?
Mommy.
Mommy can. Right. Daddy doesn't have time.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Yeah. And I was just wondering, have you ever beat Pete? What did you beat him at? You don't know.
Everything. Every minute of every day. They win every time with me. So.
Have you ever beat Pete?
Yeah.
At what?
Running.
At running, right. Well, what's your favorite sport?
Tennis.
What TV station do you watch?
You better name it. What channel?
That's okay. Help him out.
KCBD.
Oh, very good. Better than
he
the
said
channel.
Channel what?
Channel 11.
Absolutely.
Right.
Another high five. Boy, that's bad. I bet he could do a high five and beat you.
Oh, that's true. They're a real blessing. And when Bella was 2.5, she said, "Hey, Daddy, I want to do what you do." So she's been doing Peewee TV with her brother in about 4.5 years, and that is another segment that allows us to get these little kids on, 12 and under, and it's helped her with her skills, and it's a great deal. So.
What do you think about the Muleshoe Mules?
Oh boy, I mean, they are loaded every year, and this year preseason ranked number 7. David Wood does a great job, and we're looking forward to covering them. They seem to get it done every year.
And you knew what color to put your T-shirts in.
That's right.
White to mine.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Bella, I need a high five from you. And Pete?
Absolutely.
Another one, 3 high fives from the Christy family. Hey, we're inside the Santa Fe Depot. Have you ever been in the Santa Fe Depot before?
I have, yes.
Did you ever buy a ticket here to go in?
No, it wasn't that long ago.
Abner Euresti. And Abner, you have worked for Channel 11, KCBD in Lubbock. How many years?
Well, it's been 30-something, 34, 35.
And you're 36 years old.
Yes, I am.
Now, where did you grow up and where were you reared?
I was actually born in Taylor, Texas. That's right outside of Austin. But my family moved to Lubbock when I was very young, so I grew up in Lubbock, went to Lubbock schools, a graduate of Lubbock High, and stayed there and went to Texas Tech. Started working at KCBD as an intern, and I meant to move away, but I guess it didn't work out that way, so here I am.
Well, I bet you've been happy.
Very happy. I always said that if I did not like what I was doing and I did not like doing it in Lubbock, I'd move, and it never happened. I love it. Still love my job today.
Good. And so now, tell me, did you have family that stayed in Lubbock as you were working?
Yes, I have a big family, and that's one of the reasons I stayed there. Is I'm one of 7 children, and they're all there except for one brother who is in Corpus Christi. Really? Everybody else is still in Lubbock.
And have their own families.
Yes, they do. Now. Yes,
so
they do.
You have a lot of rooters.
I do. I do have a lot of people watching me, and most of them are my family.
Well, I think everybody feels that in that audience they are a member of your family.
We hope so. That's what Karin and I, and of course Pete and John, we try to do is we realize we're guests in their home. And so we don't take that for granted, and we hope that they see us as part of their family.
And I know that's one of the reasons you come to Muleshoe, to extend that friendship and see them face to face and thank them. And where else are you going, Abner?
Well, tomorrow we'll be in Abernathy. Then Wednesday we're in Denver City. Thursday we're in Post, and then we wrap it up in Levelland.
Well, it's a good way to start it right here with a good meal kick.
It is. This is great. We're very glad to be in Muleshoe, and we know that Muleshoe people watch us all the time, so we're glad to come here and see them in person.
Now, can you think about that all these 30-some-odd years, if there was a story that really you enjoyed? I'm not talking about a sad story. What's a story that you really enjoyed out of those years reporting that you just couldn't wait till you got on the air to tell all your family?
Well, that's interesting, because usually people tell me, what's the most tragic story, or what's the most important story, or nobody's ever asked me that. But I have to tell you, I am a very modest guy grew up in East Lubbock and went to Texas Tech. But the fact that I have interviewed 5 presidents is a big deal to me, because growing up.
And it should be to you.
I never thought, in Lubbock, Texas, and, if you're in Washington or New York, you're going to do that. But working in Lubbock and still being able to interview 5 presidents, that's very rewarding.
Just think, now you can add, and now I have been on Channel 6 in Muleshoe.
Channel 6, that's going to be, that's up there with that.
That's exclamation point.
Yes, it is. It is. I'm very, very glad to be on Channel 6.
Now, tell me, Abner, who were those 5 presidents?
It starts with Reagan.
And
Reagan and Ford, Carter, and Bush and Bush.
Bush and Bush.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's a wonderful thing, and that would be a happy thing, I'm sure.
It was. And it was one of those things that, I don't usually call my family and tell them, watch tonight, but that's one of the things that I would say, make sure you watch. I am going to talk to the president, so that's a big deal.
I'm very mother-oriented. Did your mother get to see all?
She did. Yes, she did. In fact, I was on the campus of Texas A&M when I interviewed the senior President Bush, and I bought his book at the bookstore there on the campus, and I asked him if he would autograph it for my mother, and he wrote on there, "I hope you're as proud of your sons as I am of mine," and they signed it, and she was just so happy to get that.
What a nice thing for him to think of.
Because I just thought he'd write his name, but he wrote
that was presidential.
No, it was. It was.
Well, now back to the very early days at Hey Good Looking TV.
Oh, yes, right.
Well, what was it like? I asked Karin the same thing because I think she came about the same time you did. What was it like, and how different is it today? What are some of the big changes?
The biggest change, of course, is that now we shoot digital tape. Back then we shot film, and it was just a completely different world. It changed everything. Number two is satellites, because I covered the earthquake in Mexico City, and I couldn't send my stories back the way we could now. They had to wait till I brought my film back, and we edited it here, and then I presented my stories. But now it's so instantaneous that anything can happen anywhere in the world. And you know how people are. They want to see it. If it happened, they want to see it.
It's TV.
It is. That is TV. And I guess the other big thing for us is Dub Bolus was the weatherman when I started working there. And the equipment that they had then compared to the equipment they have now, it was just so primitive looking back. And that's one of the things that every TV station in the country takes so seriously, especially us here, because it concerns the safety of our viewers, and we take that very seriously. And the equipment that John has is just incredible to be able to go in the storm, and he can track and know what, there's this block in Lubbock, and he knows what's going on right there with his technology. That's just incredible. So that's a big change.
Right. Now, do you remember the first story you ever did on KCBD?
Yes, I do. And it was it had to do. It's funny because it was in the mid-'70s, and it had gone from a draft military to a voluntary military. So I went to the recruiters and talked about how it had changed and how it was different and how they try to get people to sign up for the military now. And so that was the very first story that I did, and I had a lot of help doing that first story. Everybody told me what to do and how to write it and whatever. But I know that I called probably 5 members of my family and told them, watch tonight, when that first story was on. And
how long was it?
The story? Like a minute and a half. That's all it was. But I was on, so,
Right. And you have to realize he's anchored now, but you weren't anchored then.
No.
Who were the anchors? There was just one.
The anchor was Chuck Hall, and the sports guy, I believe, was Eddie Clinton, and the weather guy was Dub Bolus. So that's and the news director was Dick Benedict. I always give him a lot of credit because he hired me out of tech and with no experience. And back then we had 2 reporters, and there were probably 8 or 9 people maybe in the newsroom, and we probably have 35 people now in the newsroom.
And you do well covering the news, even in Muleshoe.
Well, we'd like to think we do. We can always do better, and we always try to do better, but we're proud.
Thank you very much, and it's so nice to be in Muleshoe, in the Mule Memorial City, and talking to the anchor of Hey Good Looking. And if you hadn't been around very long, you don't know what I'm talking about, but that's Channel 11 out of Lubbock.